I think more people would win if they understood that when you change what you think, you change what you do.
Welcome to 20 Minutes of Winning. I'm Dave Ketchen. With me is my good friend, Larry Thornton.
Absolutely.
And in this introductory video, we just wanted to try to answer the question, why should people actually listen to us? Who are these two guys that are putting together this podcast? And why the heck should I think that they have something useful to tell me? So, just want to go back and forth a little bit with some questions and answers between the two of us, and start off, Larry. How exactly does an artist end up owning multiple McDonald's?
How about that? Well, I will tell you before we get started that I know exactly why I would listen to you, and I think you've got a pretty good idea as to why you'd listen to me, but it's not about us today. I think we both have some very significant, very poignant information that could make life so much better from a business perspective. And it's very important to understand that much of what we're going to talk about is about life skills, not necessarily business skills. They are one and the same, and particularly when you understand that all of us are in business for ourselves. So I'm an artist, and I did some business with art, but in terms of traditional, typical business, owning a McDonald's franchisee, becoming a McDonald's franchisee today with 7 restaurants, how does one become? Well, it starts, Dave, with simply wanting to be all that you can be. I'll just simply say to you that we are not one-dimensional beings. There's so much more to all of us if we only knew that. So as we get into our talk, I think it's going to be very interesting to understand why would a somewhat accomplished artist doing franchising and serving on corporate boards.
What caused you to want to write a book, and what were you trying to get across to people in doing so?
Well, let me reiterate again. There is so much more to all of us. I will tell you that when it comes to life and winning, it's no different than a baseball game, football game, basketball game. We typically want to win in life. And I think more people would win if they understood that when you change what you think, you change what you do. And I simply wanted to capture those rudiments of thought, processes of thinking that I thought would lead to a more winning circumstance, which is what all of us really wants to do. Now, once you finish with me, I've got a question for you, because I have no idea what an eminent scholar is, Dr. Dave Ketchen. So at some point, you're going to have to kind of reveal to all of us what that's all about.
So I'll go ahead and answer that question now.
Thank you.
In essence, there's 3 ranks as a professor. There's an assistant professor, which is kind of an odd title because you don't actually assist anybody. Unlike, say, an assistant manager who would assist the manager. The next level up is called an associate professor. And
Got it.
Finally, you are what's considered a full professor. And so among the ranks of the full professors, if you happen to be somebody who's been extremely productive in terms of your scholarly pursuits, then you may be granted the status of eminent scholar.
How cool is that?
So it sort of sounds like I should have a crown and a scepter.
Yeah, I was looking for those.
What I do have is probably better than that, which is a wealthy person donated a big chunk of money Raymond Harbert, who's actually in Birmingham, just as you are.
I do know Raymond.
Okay. He donated a big chunk of money, and that money gets invested, and then a certain percentage of the annual proceeds from that endowment go to underwrite my salary. So
Got it.
an eminent scholar would typically make more money than somebody who was just a full professor. But yeah, it's just a reflection of scholarly accomplishment.
That makes sense to me. Tell you that during my 4 years at Alabama State University, I had some outstanding professors that I learned a lot from. So great. But thanks for clearing that up for me.
Absolutely. So, what do you hope to accomplish through the 20 Minutes of Winning podcast?
Well, here again, I can't tell you the number of times I'm asked for an audience can I spend 30 minutes with you to understand how do you get to own 7 restaurants with a major franchise? How did you get to be elected to the board of directors of Coca-Cola, the largest independent bottler in the nation, Coca-Cola Bottling Company United? How did you become a director of a bank board? And Dave, you and I know individuals who have MBAs hanging on their walls. And yet those individuals would probably find that you and I know individuals, we won't call names, who would probably find it difficult to run a lemonade stand. There's a significant difference that I think through these 20 minutes that we're going to spend. I wish it were 45 minutes and if we could do it 5 times today, because I'm telling you, that's just how much people are interested in finding that inner self that takes you to the next level. Because as I said, we all want to win. I believe that so much that I wrote a book about it. This material, I just believe it is, and I've believed it from the very first time you invited me to your class, and it dawned on me that I wasn't talking about P&Ls and I wasn't talking about balance sheets or accounting or economics or finance. Because once you master those life skills and you're willing to work on them on a consistent basis, it doesn't matter what genre of interest, business included. If you apply those, it's going to pretty much be okay, I think.
It's a great point. And I think about the theme of why not win being tied to sports and, hey, the game is scheduled, we have to play, why not win?
Why not win?
The rules of most games are very similar. They overlap a lot, whether the game is athletics or life or relationships or whatever.
Yep.
The rules of the game are very, very similar.
Very close. In fact, in there where you have those 13 words, I do an analogy. It says the game has been scheduled, so we have to play. Why not win? And so I started to play with those words. So you have been born, so you have to live. Why not win? And that's what these podcasts are all about, is creating an awareness so that we augment what we typically think and think differently. Change what you think. When you change what you think, you change what you do. There's no argument or debate about that.
Well, we hope lots of folks will join us on this journey, and we hope that the two of us will have a lot of fun along the way.
Can't wait to share.